kill them if
I'm
they
looking at
waterboard them.
a
They
movie
might pretend they're going to kill them, you know,
that
they
I
might
made
think they're going to be drowned, think they're going to be
back
killed,
in
but they're not really killing
May
them, so it's
2007.
okay. You know, just
That
like,
was
you know,
before
people who didn't kill them
the
at one time but
election.
pulled their fingernails out.
Bush
Well,
was in
you know,
power.
they didn't kill them, so that's all right. But
I hadn't been
Sean
diagnosed
Hannity
with cancer. That
has
happened
no
in
idea at all
2009.
about what it's like to be
And
on the receiving end
I
of that kind of thing.
had discovered
Well,
Fox Radio when I came to America in 2001, right after 9/11. And I've listened to them an awful lot over the years, purely and simply because I just couldn't believe that as a nation that America would allow this hate-mongering just because of the free speech bit. I mean, you know, Britain's got free speech, but they didn't allow Enoch Powell with his hatred against immigrants back in the, whatever, 50s, 60s, and the public wouldn't tolerate it. But here, unfortunately, Limbaugh's rich, and Hannity's not doing too bad, and Bortz, they're all feeding off the right-wing public, Americans, who actually agree with them. And it's very hard to imagine that that you guys would agree with all that stuff and agree with hating. And you know, in the UK we have like a 4-week election period. Someone's elected, either generally Labour or Conservative, and then we just get on with it, because neither party really can make terrific changes. I mean, the House of Commons is like a chicken coop, and only the strongest arguments prevail. So it doesn't make any difference to the lifestyle and this and that, just by who's been voted in. Of course, it may do a lot more here than it does in the UK, but anyway, how does he have such a following? How does Hannity, Limbaugh, and Bortz, and Glenn Beck, you know, how do they get this following here? O'Reilly, I just feel so sad over it, and you know, I don't know if it's going to change, but here we are in 2010, elections coming up again, and it's all about hatred. People spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on getting voted in, when all those sums of money, you know, could be used so much better. And why do we admire people who waste their money like that when and then we protest about what it costs for health care? You know, Britain's had health care since 1948, and no government is going to change that. It makes for a happier people. It makes for a more confident, content people, because, you know, you break a leg, you get well, my uncle, he lived in Sweden, and he was a photographer, and it was pretty naughty of him that he broke his leg on a Paris escalator at the airport, and then got on a plane straight to Britain so that he could repair on the national health. But I guess for many years he paid into the system. So, but anyway, you know, it makes for a difference. Here people aren't insured, and you know, they get diabetes, they don't get treated correctly, and they don't have long lives, and they get things like arms and legs and dropping off, etc. And it just amazes me that you guys are happy and content with that, and oppose that every citizen should not have to worry about their health, and should not have to decide between rent and meds each month. And you know, that to me is terrible. Anyway, here is my movie from May 2007 about waterboarding, which, you know, I think we have a different view of it now, but this was at a time when you know, it's more promoted. I've heard Bortz promote it as well, and I've also been up in arms with him about this suggestion that we sink as low as we had a reputation maybe like the Japanese had, you know, for torture. That would be wonderful. But some people agree. Let's torture them, you know, whatever it takes. This has never been a whatever it takes nation. This is not good for America. Thank you.
I want to take up with a point that I heard from Sean Hannity just a couple of days ago, to do with the Republican debate as to who they should put forward for to be the next president. And someone apparently asked them the stupidest question that I personally would have been insulted if I'd have been asked it, and it was based on the business of what would you do if we had these people, and there'd already been some people blown up in certain cities, and we had these terrorists, and we thought that there might be somewhere else that they're intending to blow up, and we had them in custody, and should we torture them? Why don't we torture them, says Sean. You know, he says waterboarding, you know, they don't actually kill them if they waterboard them. They might pretend they're going to kill them, you know, they might think they're going to be drowned, think they're going to be killed, but they're not really killing them, so it's okay. You know, just like, you know, people who didn't kill them at one time but pulled their fingernails out, well, you know, they didn't kill them, so that's all right. But there's this Sean Hannity character who has no idea at all about what it's like to be on the receiving end of that kind of thing, saying, oh, of course we should waterboard them, of course we should torture them, of course we should have these offshore jails where we can do what we like and no one can oversee what we're doing. Yes, we should do that, of course we should. This is Sean Hannity, and there are people actually who agree with him, and I can't understand it. I really can't understand it. You need some imagination, folks. You need some imagination. This is the scenario I want you to imagine. Now, Sean Hannity is telling you all on the radio that, yes, we should waterboard people to find out information from them. Now, he's giving out this information that we should waterboard, we should torture. Now, here's what I want you to imagine. There are 3 missing soldiers. Now, imagine that where they're being kept, they just happen to be receiving Sean Hannity's diatribe. They just happen to be able to receive what Hannity, his warmongering hate speech, and they're receiving it. And there he is telling the captors of these 3 American servicemen, it's all right to torture. Waterboarding's okay. We don't kill him. We just pretend to kill him. So it's okay, is it? Are you imagining that this soldier is listening to Sean and saying, Sean, you're a great American. Sean, carry that on. My captors are loving that. Just please carry on with it and tell them what we should do, how we should torture people, you know. I think Mr. McCain had it right. He was about the only person who had some kind of mentality that we don't need to stoop to those levels to get things done. And there is no big fear here of terrorism and Muslims. It's stupid. And this business recently of these Albanians, they are as pathetic as can be. They went into a video store or somewhere and asked them to make copies of a tape of them out in the jungle pretending to be idiots. And therefore, this guy's a great hero because he informed the authorities that they wanted. He saw them on tape, you know, cavorting around there with whatever they had, some sort of guns. I think it was those things they used for sport. But they are not terrorists. They're terrorist would-bes. They're terrorist wannabes, and we've had this happen before, I think, in Miami and other places, and mostly they're procured. You know, you get some guy saying, I can supply you with weapons, and I can supply you with this and that, and have you got anyone else who might be interested? And they suck these people in, and they're part of the problem. They're actually part of the problem. But, you know, you didn't hear any of the 9/11 terrorists going and getting videos copied or whatever. They're the ones you have to worry about. They're the ones, and we were stupid enough not to realise that these people were having flight training but weren't worried about taking off and landing. I just needed to know how to turn and to gain altitude and lose altitude. I don't need to know how to take off and land. So, you know, some flight instructor is not saying, oh my God, you know, what's this about? I think I better report this. No, some flight instructor is saying, oh, I'm making good money out of this. I'm not going to question it at all. I don't care. I'm getting good money. And so, you know, but we do not need Sean Hannity telling us we need to torture. We do not need for people over there to be listening to this crap from Sean Hannity as to how we should waterboard. It's okay, yeah, you know. I mean, we're not killing them, we're just pretending. We're letting them think we're going to kill them, you know, if we just hang them up in the air and put electrodes on their earlobes, you know, that's okay. I mean, it's only pretending, isn't it? And Sean, are you going to send your son, when he's old enough, out into this situation? And would you be nicely enjoying seeing a video of your son being waterboarded, or your son with electrodes attached to his earlobes or his genitals? We're not killing him. We're just pretending to. We're just giving him an electric shock. Yes, all you great Americans who admire Sean Hannity, think again, won't you? And grow up and start listening to someone else, and listen to someone who gives you more than one version, because Sean Hannity does not give you more than one version. He gives you his version and his version alone. And Neil Bortz isn't much better. None of them have got an idea. I'd like to get them where they have to listen to me, because all they do is they cut off anyone who's got a different viewpoint, and they actually convince a lot of people in this country that they know what they're talking about. Let's have the fairness doctrine come in, where we stop this hatred, this angering of people, and let's start having a debate that is equal, or all sides put their point across, instead of having to listen to Fox crap, Hannity crap, Bortz and Limbaugh crap that is totally one-sided, orchestrated, hateful warmongering.